Hi there, Loy Machedo, speaking from loymachedo.com. And who is Loy Machedo? Today the date is, what's the date? 7th November 2015. It's a Saturday. Time right now is 7:42 in the evening. Now, yesterday I happened to just, all of a sudden I decided to go and watch Spectre, Spectre, James Bond's latest movie. And, I just wanted to, I was kind of curious as to why in the world there was, there wasn't a buzz, there wasn't much fanfare, nobody was talking about it, everything was silent. So I decided, okay, fine, let me go and watch it by myself. It's a new movie. And what intrigued me was Dave Bautista acting as Mr. Hinks. So obviously that would be something really new to watch. So I decided, okay, fine, let's go and watch it. Now, I watched some of the behind-the-scenes interviews, and it sounded good, although not very convincing. So here is my movie review, to make it short, sweet, and to the point. The cinematography, I have to get that. Excellent. I mean, the way the camera moved, the angles, the way there was a continuous flow, the long angle shots, the whole thing, it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, you just felt as if you're involved and immersed into the movie. Especially the initial shots. I loved the way the starting was. The whole movie suddenly moved to a level 10 in grabbing your attention. And I was completely hooked on to see what would happen next. The acting scenes, the action scenes in the beginning were excellent. Really, really good. Over the top. I mean, it was really getting impressive, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a great movie. There were quite a lot of extras, but I'm pretty sure the rest of it was CGI because it was a massive sea of human beings, and especially the helicopter scene, which was pretty daring and pretty creative by itself. The one comment that I did have was James Bond looked old. His age is catching up, and he doesn't look he doesn't look suited for that role anymore. And they could clearly make out when the camera was focusing on his face, there were so many wrinkles. When he was holding, the female's hand, her hand was so childlike, and his hand was like a grandfather. Then my next thought went to Batista. I mean, the way Batista was introduced was like scary, especially, grabbing the guy and putting his fingers in his eyeballs and, throwing the mush out. So that was like, finally a worthwhile film. The car scene chase was good, although I felt more could have been added. They were just driving along up and down, but then it started to get a little boring. I was like, come on. And the way James Bond actually destroyed the car was an anti-climax. I didn't think it added much value there. Good humor. There were lots of scenes, one-liners, which the humor was pretty good. Lots of twists. However, towards the ending, the twists were more of come on, don't tell me. Some of the mistakes was, especially when James Bond was speaking to one of those characters, the Bond girl's father, and when he shoots himself under the chin, and when James Bond is checking, there's absolutely no blood. If you shoot yourself here, especially if you see some of the internet-based videos, I mean, blood will gush. You'll be completely splattered all over. There was no blood at all. I mean, how can you make such a mistake? Scenic shots were great. I love the scenic shots from far, wide angles. But the ending was absolutely miserable, terrible, horrible. Oh my goodness, it was such a bad taste in your mouth. And to tell you, most of the time during the course of the movie, I was busy playing Candy Crush because I was just so bored. Sam Mendes is the guy who directed Skyfall. He's the guy who directed, American Beauty, Road to Perdition. So it was kind of disappointing to know that, okay, fine, you can't always be a winner. I think what really the really big problem was the way the story moved, and it didn't actually make sense. The expectations were so high, and it went into an anti-climax, especially the ending. I mean, it just became a matter of personal vendetta, and where they could have made the ending go in a climax, they made it into a small anti-climax between the villain and the good guy. Especially the scene where this guy goes into the old MI6 headquarters, and which is now a dead-end zone, which is like a building waiting to be demolished. And there, the villain is waiting for James Bond within 24 hours of, destroying the previous, his whole headquarters. And he's waiting for him with bulletproof glass that never ends. I mean, come on, that's stupid. And he was waiting for him there, as if he knew that James Bond was going to come there. And the way the headquarters was destroyed, I mean, such a massive secure location, so many cameras and so many, bodyguards, and still James Bond gets away. And especially the torture device, how James Bond got away from that was also pretty ridiculous. I mean, come on. It is the movie failed to get an emotional response. The movie failed to capitalize on the villain. The villain, what's his name? Christopher Waltz. How horrible, terrible, boring. I mean, he didn't have a personality. It was bad. I mean, I wish they had put Dave Bautista as the main villain. I think that would have added more spice into the movie. Overall, I just felt Spectre is, a less inspiring, poorly executed movie. Really sad. I mean, it's a disappointment. It's honestly a disappointment to watch Spectre, and I personally feel that Daniel Craig shouldn't act in any more Bond movies because he's old. His age is caught up, and I don't think he suits the role anymore. And if they really wanted to make something new, I think they should try African American, which would add a new twist into the flavor. Even this guy, what's his name? Let me get his name. Come on, how can I not get his? Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes and Andrew Scott. I didn't think their roles were utilized in the way they could have. So overall, bad casting, pretty dumb storyline. The action scenes were a bit ridiculous, especially in the ending. It was pretty bland and boring. And the Bond girl, what's the Bond girl's name? Leah Seydoux. Okay, I think she was pretty. I don't know. She didn't have any emotions, feelings, connections, nothing. There was no charisma. So anyway, overall, I would say don't bother. Watching this movie. It's a waste of time. If you ask me, just wait for it to download or borrow it from someone. If you didn't see it, you'd not miss it. I was pretty disappointed, and what I rated it out of 10 was only a 4. So this is my opinion of James Bond's latest movie, that is Spectre. Very, very, very sad, disappointing franchise release. Loy from LoyMachedo.com and who's LoyMachedo.com. Have any views, any opinions, suggestions, or you want to criticize me, let me know down in the comments below. Goodbye for now.